go to bed, but I wound up staying up and watching another film on TCM instead, because I was like paranoid that it wasn't gonna show up streaming. Because sometimes the films they show them and then they can stream for a week afterwards on Watch TCM, but sometimes they don't. And then I was like, what if it's not? And so I didn't want to risk it. So I'm awake and it's midnight. But I'm so glad I stayed up for this movie. So couple of like baseline things. It's directed by Joan Darling. She also has directed a lot of television, including a very famous episode of the Mary Tyler Moore Show, Chuckles Bites the Dust. And according to Carrie Beauchamp, who was talking after the film, she also was a teacher, and one of her students was Leslie Linka Glatter, who now does Homeland and worked on Mad Men and is famous for making sure women work on her shows. So it's wonderful and shows you how women mentoring women equals more women working. It's always nice to see. So First Love is sort of in the vein of Love Story in that it's like young college age people having their first romantic love / relationship. And it's based on a story by Harold Broadkey. It has a Cat Stevens song and a Paul Williams song. So you're in good company because the movie starts out with Cat Stevens, shifts into a Paul Williams ballad, ends with Cat Stevens. You're in a good place. I didn't really like the lead actor. His name's William Catt. I'm not sure if I've seen him in anything else. He's no, he's no Ryan O'Neal. That's all I'm going to say. But Susan Dey was great as the female lead. And then Beverly D'Angelo gives like a devastating supporting performance. And then John Hurd just like nails it. John Hurd in the late 70s into the 80s was like on fire, and Hollywood just didn't know what to do with him. And then who knows what he does now. I mean, he's got a really long filmography, but he should have been like one of the great leading actors because he is one of the great actors of his generation. But this happens. So the plot is about a man who sees, or college student who sees, who doesn't sleep around like his friends because he's waiting for love, and then he falls in love at first sight, only to discover that the woman that he's in love with has a much older boyfriend, and he manages to date her, and then shit happens because she has another boyfriend who is this older man, and there's a lot more going on with that, and you can kind of figure out where that's going to go. And then the John Hurt Beverly D'Angelo relationship is sort of about he's like his side girl, but she loves him, and maybe they'll get together. And the lead guy's always trying to get her to like see that she deserves better and she should not put up with this, but it's like, that's what you do with love. And honestly, that's not what you should do if you're in love. And I think that's what the guy figures out, but it's sort of too late for Beverly D'Angelo, which is too bad. But what was really delightful about this film, and shocking because it was on TCM, was that at one point he says orgasms with like a really long A. And so from here on out, when I say orgasms, I have to say it with like 4 or 5 A's in the word. And then he also calls her a cunt. That happened on a movie on TCM in primetime. Although technically I was watching an East Coast feed, so it's like 1 a.m, but still he said cunt. It was not edited. It was intense. Also in the film is Robert Loggia, who I mostly just think of from Lost Highway, because he like does what everyone always wants to do to bad drivers in Lost Highway. I also noticed that John Hurd has done several films with women, and I was pointing them out So he made this one. He made 2 films with Joan Micklin Silver, and he also made Awakenings with Penny Marshall and Rambling Rose with Martha Coolidge. So he's hip with the chicks, as they say. Speaking of Martha Coolidge, on Thursday, they're showing Valley Girl. They're showing like the greatest lineup of films. They're doing Wanda, and then Girlfriends, and then Valley Girl. It's fucking amazing. I'm actually gonna maybe try to leave work a little early so I can come home and watch that lineup straight through, because it's like all these movies that I love. And then they're showing Nancy Savoca's True Love, which I've never seen. And so I'm excited to see that. I don't think I'm going to be able to stay up to watch Border Radio, but I did just buy Border Radio from Criterion, so I can watch it the next day. All this is just basically me saying that the TCM Trailblazing Women series has been amazing, and I missed watching TCM this year, and it's been a real treat to get to watch the channel and watch the little bumpers and like watch films simultaneously with TCM fans on Twitter, and I've missed that, and so I'm really grateful for this, and I'm grateful for them really pulling out films that even, like, I hadn't even heard of this film, and I would never have thought to look for it, so I think it's just an amazing service they're doing, and I hope you guys are, if you have TCM, that you've been watching, and that if you haven't been watching and you have TCM, you should start watching and make up for what you've missed. So that was Joan Darling's True Love. No, Joan Darling's First Love. True Love is Thursday. First Love, it's from 1977. It's Paramount Pictures. I don't know if it's on DVD. I watched it on TCM. It was great.